Good afternoon. Welcome to this presentation about the SAC Sustainable Apparel Coalition and the Higg Index. My name is Karin Ekberg and I'm the manager of the consulting company Leadership and Sustainability. Before I started my own company, I worked several years at Adidas in the role of Head of Environmental Services and before that at other companies. Since my time at Adidas, I have been involved in several areas of SAC, also holding the position as chair of the board. I'm sending around an attendee list. Please add your name and contact details or put your business card into the plastic folder. Please feel free to take one of my business cards as well. Today we will focus on the SAC Higg Index and how you can use the Higg Index in your organization if you are a brand, a retailer or a manufacturer. I will introduce you to SAC and give you an overview of the SAC Higg Index. Then we will, step by step, explore where the Higg Tools fit into your program. We will look at the brand level and discuss materiality, what's important for your business and strategy. We will discuss the supply chain, and if you are a manufacturer, you might find this section the most interesting. We will speak about product and materials as well. And towards the end of the presentation, we will have time for a discussion. And finally, I will present my company and our services to you. Let's begin with the introduction. SAC, Sustainable Apparel Coalition, focuses on the apparel, footwear and home textile industries and has defined a vision that you can see here to produce no unnecessary environmental harm and have a positive impact on people and communities. SAC is working with and has members from all different stakeholder groups like brands, retailers, manufacturers, service providers, and not-for-profit organizations. And here you see a list of most of the members in the different member categories. As you can see, the number of members is quite significant and is running towards 200 members by now. SAC develops tools, support adoption of tools, and enable transparency on results. So far, most of the tools have been assessment tools, but SAC has also started the work to support organizations improve with the help of improvement tools. And this slide here gives you an overview of the Higg Index suite of tools. The suite of tools cover brand and retail models, meaning they focus on the corporate level of brands and retailers. Facility modules, meaning they focus on manufacturing sites, either your own or your suppliers. And finally, product modules, meaning they focus on the product level. And I will speak more about these tools a bit later. The approach of SAC has from the beginning been to adopt a life cycle or value chain structure to the work with the tools. And this illustration exemplifies a typical life cycle and the respective tools where they fit in. So for example, for raw materials, we have SAC's MSI, Material Sustainability Index. For manufacturers and suppliers, we have the Facilities Environmental Module and the Facilities Social and Labor module. Now that you have an overview of the SAC and the Higg Tools, I wish to put these tools into the context of your organization. My objective is to give you examples of how the tools can fit into your sustainability strategy and program. Let's begin at the brand or retailer level. We will have a look at materiality and strategy. This illustration gives an overview of the process to develop, implement, and follow up on a sustainability strategy. You explore the need, agree that you will develop a strategy, you identify the sustainability aspects that are material to your business, you develop the actual sustainability strategy, including the business case, you develop an implementation plan and implement the strategy, and finally you assess your performance against your goals, and then you report. And in order to have a good structure, we usually work along the value chain. On this slide, you see a very detailed representation of the value chain. The value chain will look different for different companies. At the top of this slide, we have the overarching management processes. Below, we have the actual business processes where the products and services are actually created, distributed, and sold. Then we have the support functions, for example, human resources and communication. And once you have your value chain and your processes mapped, you can assess where you may have quality and sustainability impacts, risks, and opportunities, which means you identify the sustainability aspects that are material to your business and where in the supply chain and in the value chain they are material. We also need to decide which sustainability aspects you wish to include into your assessment and into your strategy. On the left-hand side, you see a few standards and initiatives that you may draw from. You may also look to the topics that are trending in your industry or ask your stakeholders, or perhaps they have already told you. Perhaps they are already shouting to you. And on the right-hand side, you see a few examples of specific sustainability aspects. The next step is to conduct the materiality assessment. We do that with the help of comprehensive assessment matrix, and what you see here is a simplified example. On the top of this slide, we see again our business processes, now somewhat condensed. On the left hand, we have our sustainability aspects at a higher level. Now you can assess all the sustainability aspects you identified. Assess them for status, what's in place, what's not in place, impact, and legal, financial, and operational risks and opportunities. There are many ways you can do the assessment. For example, you can do it at a higher level in a brainstorming or workshop session. You can also develop a questionnaire and conduct interviews with stakeholders. You may wish to include footprinting with quantitative measures or even product lifecycle assessments. And the results can be inserted into a matrix like this and then valued on a scale that you have predefined. The goal should be to understand your material sustainability aspects as well as your gaps. Here, for example, we have used dark orange to indicate a significant potential. And the identified material aspects are the ones you should focus on if you wish to improve your sustainability impact. The SAC brand module can be used during your assessment. For example, you can use some of the questions in the brand module and assess yourself how well you are doing. Some examples of questions from the brand environmental module are: brand has established internal metrics to hold product team accountable for sustainability performance and continuous improvement. Brand has an updated list of suppliers that it contracts with. Brand restricts chemicals used in manufacturing processes and or residing in final product that goes beyond a list of regulated chemicals and RSLs. Brand has a program to track, measure, and document the environmental impacts from the manufacturing of its products. You can also benchmark yourself with other companies. We have actually, together with a customer, done such a benchmarking using the SAC brand module. We will be discussing the results of that benchmarking at the outdoor conference in June in Friedrichshafen. The brand module will be revised and the work is just kicking off for the revision phase. And once you have done your materiality assessment and potentially your benchmarking, you can begin developing your strategy and designing projects to respond to the hotspots. Now let's have a look at what sustainability leaders do when they develop their strategy. In a McKinsey study, there were questions designed to differentiate what great sustainability leaders do and others don't in relation to strategy development. The blue bars represent the percentage of the sustainability leaders that agree to the statement, and the green bar represents the percentage of all other respondents that agree to the same statement. And the number in orange represents the factor between the two. These results speak for themselves. For example, nearly 5 times as many in the group of sustainability leaders set aggressive external targets or goals than the other respondents. And let's look at the last example. The financial benefits of sustainability are clearly understood across the organization. 51% of the leaders said yes. Only 18% of the other respondents said yes. So you begin developing your strategy and program, and there are several steps you need to take here, including defining the business case and iterating the goals, but we will not go into detail here. On this slide, you see examples of program elements you may have in your strategy, organized again along the value chain. So, for example, you may decide to introduce an ISO 14001, an environmental management system. This system would probably encompass all processes in the company. However, a program with focus on energy conservation may cover mainly innovation, suppliers, own manufacturing, and warehousing. Now let's have a look at the supply chain level where the products are actually manufactured. This illustration shows a typical supply chain. You can imagine how complex this picture can get, and it can get even more complex if you source via agents, because then you have the agents in between your company and the suppliers. The result is that you may not have any visibility of the actual manufacturing entities at all. You are not even seeing the tip of the iceberg. To manage the supply chain well for sustainability is a significant challenge for most brands, retailers, and manufacturers themselves. Some of the challenges are: in order to manage risks, you need to reach beyond Tier 1 in the supply chain. There are many different standards available: the SAC Higg Index, the Certiet-C, the BEPI, GSEP, Fairware Foundation, Fair Labor Association. You may have a fast-changing supply chain and lack of visibility. Most often there are multiple buyers at a single supplier, which lead to multiple audits at that supplier, and then which leads to audit fatigue and less productive improvements at this facility. The technical complexity of manufacturing is significant, so there are no easy standard solutions. And finally, there is a need to integrate several topics relevant to the supply chain: environment, chemicals management, H&S, labor, compliance, etc. In order to better understand your supply chain, or if you are a manufacturer, to understand your own production, you can apply the same approach to assess materiality to your supply chain as you did to your value chain. You just decide which product groups and which tiers of the supply chain you wish to assess. Here we can see an example, beginning with apparel tier 1, apparel tier 2, accessories tier 1, etc. Once you have defined your materiality, you need to build a supply chain program, and there are many elements of a supply chain program. Now we will only mention one tool that is available to you, the SAC facility modules for environment and for social and labor. The environment module version 3.0 will be finalized by the end of the year, but the version 2.0 can be used in the interim period. For social and labor, there is a convergence group working on the module. Both modules are self-assessment tools that the manufacturer can use to score himself, but the self-assessments can also be verified by third-party service providers. And now let's turn to products and materials. Which are the strategic decisions we need to take at product level? Well, some of the main decisions are relating to assessing the fabrics and selecting preferable fabrics, product indexing, footprinting, and LCA life cycle assessments. For materials, the SAC Higg Index includes a tool called the MSI, Material Sustainability Index. This is what the Higg MSI looks like. The material categories on the left show that textiles are selected, so you can see textiles in your materials library. These are generic or representative versions of textiles that SAC has created for you. In the MSI, a lower score is better. You can think the lower the score, the lower the impact. And you can see a breakdown on the MSI score impact by impact, and even sort by those impacts if you are specifically interested in water scarcity, land use, climate change, etc. And this is a typical process for product development within an organization. We know that around 80% of the product's impact is determined during the design phase. Designers have a lot of power. It's during this phase that they can significantly reduce impact. Only at this time can they decide to put 2 parts in an outsole instead of 6 that need to be heat pressed together. They can replace a nickel zipper with a zipper made out of a recycled material. Some can decide where cut lines are in their patterns to reduce waste. The designers hold the key to one of the easiest ways to drastically reduce the amount of water we use, wastewater polluting streams, energy use, and greenhouse gas emissions. But once they understand why, their first question is how to do that. And in order to help designers improve the environmental impact of the products they design, SAC developed the DDM, the Design and Development Module. It covers materials, which means the MSI, the Material Sustainability Index we just looked at, manufacturing, care and repair, end of use, and quality and lifetime. It's a very simple tool and it does approximate significantly. This is not an LCA tool. However, the Material Sustainability Index has been built also on some LCA data. On this slide, you can see how different products can be compared. And on the right-hand side, you can see the total impact of the different products. The smaller, the better. And here are some additional products. On this slide, you see again a comparison, but here you can also see the comparison broken down into different areas. So we begin with materials, and then we have manufacturing, care and repair, end of use, etc. One other tool and pilot project is related to the EU product environmental footprint. Here, a pilot project for many different product categories has been running for a few years already. SAC has been engaged with the non-leather footwear category. The footprinting is striving to deliver LCA similar results, but after simplifications and a prioritization. And this pilot moves us to reporting. The final goal of the EU pilot project is to have a product score that can be communicated externally. Here you see an example of a label. The pilot objectives were to test the standard for the industry to measure and communicate the environmental impact of products to consumers, and test if communicating environmental information to consumers may trigger an improvement in the overall environmental performance of products. And these results are now being evaluated. And with that, I have come to the end of my presentation. I hope you have found the information valuable, and now I would like to open up for questions. Does anyone have a question or comment? Thanks a lot. It's now time to wrap up, and I have some information about my company that I wish to present to you. At Leadership and Sustainability, we promote sustainability as corporate strategy, as business model, and as leadership quality. You can see our team here to the right, and we cover a broad range of solutions, and therefore we work in partnerships globally, and we work with clients in Europe, Asia, and Americas. The services we provide specifically related to SAC are, for example, materiality assessment and strategies, Higg Index verification and audit practices, training packages. We are an approved SAC trainer, supplier trainings, EHS and energy and chemicals management systems, chemicals management according to the ZTHC protocol or the German partnership, the so-called Textilbündnis, good manufacturing practices, and finally KPIs and performance improvements. And on this slide you can see a few of the projects we have been and are working on currently. We work on classical strategy projects, conducting materiality assessment over the entire value chain and/or the supply chain, and thereby identifying impacts, risks, and opportunities. We support brands and retailers with chemicals management projects. We work with our clients to develop their supply chains. We deliver workshops about strategy, about ISO and other topics, and we conduct verification visits and environmental impact assessments. We also do research on different topics for our clients. So please contact us if you wish to engage further. You can also sign up to our newsletter. And this presentation will be posted on the website of Performance Days within short. In the meantime, I will be here if you wish to continue the conversation. Thank you for joining us today, and goodbye.